Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. The discrepancy amplifier is now operational. Greetings, designated inspector and/or unauthorized larcenist. This unit has detected a discrepancy related to Halcyon Helen. Unscheduled expiration of. Begin amplification. The discrepancy amplifier has been programmed with advanced speech recognition, scientific analysis, and deterministic calculus protocols.
Oh, you'll love this. Amplifier, tell the inspector about your features.
Please do not interrupt the discrepancy amplifier. The discrepancy amplifier is programmed to take instruction from its registered or designated inspector.
How curious. I must have set its impertinence levels to flagrant.
This unit's features include an automated personality simulator. This unit has been programmed to simulate joy and satisfaction in assisting you. This footprint stands out from the normally spotless floor of the grand ballroom. Typically, the ballroom is cleaned twice daily, which means this must have been made by either Helen or her assailant or assailants.
Oh no, Captain, please don't taste the dirt, and I'm too late.
Footprint is a tailor-made 8.75, suggesting that its owner was very particular about their shoe size. It is also the exact size that Halcyon Helen typically prefers. There are traces of dirt throughout the footprint. The dirt carries traces of fertilizer, as well as the faint signs of crushed purpleberries and grass. Grass, fertilizer, and purpleberries can all be found in the purpleberry orchards, located not far from the Grand Colonio. This deduction appears sound.
Good work, Inspector. I had a feeling we'd make some progress once we brought you onto the case. You'll need Administrator Ludovico to grant you access to the orchards. Contact him through the secure access terminal in your penthouse suite. Check in with the concierge. Your room should be ready by now. If it isn't, I may have to go shake someone by the collar.
The Purpleberry Orchards. And a footprint. Inspector, that was absolutely marvelous. Beautifully deduced. With the help of my discrepancy amplifier, of course. Ah, I was waiting for this. Yes, of course. I'm only too eager to cooperate. My apologies, Inspector. I've not yet finished my autopsy. Come back later? Oh, good. One of my favorite subjects. Ask away, my dear. Ask away. I didn't expect an existentialist question so early today. It's a need. Just as sprats feel they must breed, or canids feel they must brutally maul each other, I feel the need to create. Inspector, I'm sure you don't want to spend 4 hours talking back and forth about the intricacies of a science project. It works. That's the important part. Because you're the inspector. I should think that's rather obvious. I invented the discrepancy amplifier to assist me in my own medical work. When you were hired to investigate Helen's death, I realized I had my own part to play. I programmed the amplifier to assist you. I'm entrusting it to your care because I want to see my invention help a brilliant inspector solve the murder of the century. You don't miss a thing, do you, Inspector? I can see why the constable recommended hiring you. Think of the amplifier as my gift to you. May it avail you in the swift and efficient prosecution of justice. I still have the blueprint and several extra prototypes floating around, but I might recommend you try to be careful with it. Some of the amplifier's internal components are rare, shall we say, and I don't have an indefinite supply. You sure you don't want to know anything else? Oh, all right. We can change the subject. Oh, why, I'm flattered, Inspector. Let me think. I've worked at the Grand Colonial for about as long as it's been around. Prior to that, I lived in Byzantium, but I always felt like it was missing something. And that something turned out to be corpses. Byzantium has much in the way of luxury, but examining the dead does not rank amongst the preferred activities of the elite. Absolutely. Usually I'm just a medical practitioner, so I almost never get to deal with anything as unique, or as quiet, as a corpse. The most interesting thing I saw prior to this was the back of Mr. Woolrich's throat after he blew out his vocal cords shouting at an attendant. If I weren't here, I'd be back in my quarters, rewatching Byzantium in the spring, or working on my automatic sprat peeler. Oh, good. One of my favorite. You sure you don't want to know anything?
Something I should know? Are you asking me these questions in an official capacity? I understand you're being metaphorical, but I'm contractually obligated to remind you that Rizzo's cannot provide you with any official brand-associated headgear. Please, ask your questions. Norval, head bellhop. He was understandably distraught. I believe his feelings were genuine. He's a remarkably poor actor. Hotel security corroborates his whereabouts during the murder. I haven't included him in my list of suspects, but neither am I convinced of his innocence. I'm a little suspicious of anyone who enjoys his job as much as Norval. He's also obsessive in his appreciation of Helen's work. Obsessive passion can lead to irrational behavior. It's a fact of modern science. There's no sign of the murder weapon. Whatever it was that killed Helen, the killer took it with them. Frankly, I'm having trouble imagining exactly what it was that killed her. Helen was known to carry her signature weapon, a bespoke handgun known as the Needler. There was no sign of any such weapon on her body. If there were any witnesses, none came forward. Ballroom cameras were also offline at the time of the murder. Helen was very particular about having cameras on her. Security footage would have constituted documentary filmmaking. Can't afford that. Spencer Woolrich and Bertie Holcomb are officially persons of interest in this investigation. I've mostly ruled out Mr. Woolrich, leaving Bertie Holcomb as my lead suspect. Let me rephrase that. He's your lead suspect. I've been instructed to turn this case over to your capable hands, while I continue to serve as a consultant. I know. This entire affair is beginning to sound suspiciously like a 2-bit serial. Mr. Woolrich was Halcyon Helen's professional rival. It's possible jealousy drove him to take Helen out of the picture. I apologize for the wordplay. Conversely, Mr. Bertie Holcomb was Helen's paramour. The relationship was reportedly dissolved. I can't rule out her murder as a crime of passion. Woolrich thinks of himself as a serious and distinguished actor. He was frequently cast in demeaning roles, while Helen played the charismatic heroine. He has reason to be envious. I considered the possibility that Woolrich killed Helen in order to eliminate a rival and advance his own career, but my reasoning collapsed under closer scrutiny. Woolrich owes his career to Helen's dramas. Her death likely harms his long-term prospects. I'm struggling to determine a motivation for him, so I've largely ruled him out. Mr. Holcomb was in a romantic relationship with Helen. This alone is not enough to make him a lead suspect, but he does play tossball. Black Hole Birdie currently holds the record for most non-consecutive blows to the head. His tendency toward irrational and violent behavior is well documented. Please, ask your questions. Anything else? I'm afraid I must decline. It isn't personal, Inspector. I'm just on duty right now. Talk to me later, after you've met with Administrator Ludovico. I'll make time to chat.
This is a bottle of unreleased Rizzo's product. Helen appears to have attempted to use it to spell something as she expired, but all she managed was a sticky bee. Rizzo's Spectrum Brown has not yet been released for consumption. Spectrum Brown was scheduled to be unveiled at the Eridanos Atmosphere Complex in partnership with Halcyon Helen. This hypothesis is plausible, but requires additional information.
Mr. Bertie Holcomb is indeed known to frequent places of leisure and hospitality, as rare as they are in Halcyon.
Correct. Bertie Blackhole Holcomb is a registered guest at the Grand Colonial Hotel. Accessing guest database B. The Grand Colonial Hotel is proud to serve the following VIPs: Bertie, Black Hole, Burbage 3001. This evidence has been recorded for later reference. Now generating pre-approved complement. Splendid work, Inspector.
I knew I should have gotten her autograph when I had the chance.
It seems death is just another form of entertainment around here.
I'm sorry, ma'am, but while the hotel is an active crime scene, I regret to inform you that all new bookings, room upgrades, room downgrades, and in-room massages are Oh, you're the special inspector. Mr. Kincannon warned me you'd be checking in soon. Why, you? Oh, Mr. Kincannon. He runs all sublet underground operations in the Eridanus Atmospheric Complex, including the Grand Colonial Hotel. But he keeps his office down in the warehouse district, near the docks. If you should require to meet with him in person, you're most likely to find him there. While you're here, Inspector, could I set you up with a room? For you? Only the best, ma'am, of course. You'll be staying in our luxurious penthouse suite, vacated just recently. So recently that unfortunately the room's still being cleaned. The last guest left her belongings behind when she vacated unexpectedly, so we needed a little time to tidy the suite up for you. Simply call the elevator in the lobby and our highly skilled operator will deliver you to your private floor with efficiency and cheer. It certainly is a marvel of modern ingenuity, luxury, and ambition. Please allow me to answer any curiosities you might have about our building and the amenities on offer. Twice the size of the next biggest room, and kitted out with any amenity you want, as well as many that you won't. Best to enjoy it while you can, Inspector. Typically, the only people who can afford the penthouse suite have enough bits to suffocate everyone on Terra 2. Also, please inform me if Woolridge gives you a hard time about getting a better room than his. Don't tell him I said this, but everyone on staff wants to strangle him. Most certainly. All the important folks can be found in the utmost parts of the hotel. You can hardly walk 3 feet without bumping into a tossball grate or a bored exec. Though maybe don't bump into them. Could be harmful to your health. Who would be interested in a staff-only area? Most folks never ask about the sewers beneath Arizo's plant, either. Of interest to your investigation? Well, I suppose there is that one door we're not supposed to open. But I'm sorry, Inspector, I'm not authorized to grant you access to any staff sections of the hotel. You'll have to find a way in on your own. If you're sure. My apologies, Inspector, but that would be a severe violation of guest privacy. We here at the Grand Colonial firmly believe that... All right, my supervisor just walked out of earshot. Some folks just don't understand the importance of gossip. About whom? And what would you wish to know? You know, out of everyone here, I probably knew the least about Helen. I'm not much of an Aether Wave watcher myself. And Helen always had a crowd of admirers chasing her, you see, so she rarely stopped to chat. Friendly enough, surely, but always seemed untouchable. Emphasis on seemed. Now that you mention it, she was usually calm and collected, but every so often I'd see her looking all wild-eyed and intense. It seemed as if she was determined about something. Or maybe she was just hungry. That woman ordered a lot of food. Maybe show business gives you a faster metabolism. Ah, Birdie. Is he bigger than he is dumb, or dumber than he is big? I have a bet with a friend. Not sure we'll ever get it to pay out. Birdie used to be Helen's beau, though he isn't anymore, and not just because she's dead. If I had 1,000,000 bits, I'd spend every one just to learn what caused their split. Her deal? Not making them. I'd laugh at my own comment, but everyone knows there's no bigger joke than the prophet of profitability herself. Didn't you hear Helen's interview? That woman is the definition of humbuggery. Anyone who gives her the time of day is a right fool. I mean, Spencer Woolrich has taken several of her productivity seminars, and look where it got him. Don't waste your time. If looks could kill, he'd have put her in the ground 10 times over. Man's clearly jealous of her success compared to his. See, I'd bet we're the only two people thinking about him in all of Eridanos. And I only am because you mentioned his name. If you leave woolly cow milk out, it turns to curds. Leave the curds out, they begin to get stale, then rot. Woolrich is on his way to the trash bin, and everyone knows it. Either he's in denial, or he knew Helen would be checking out soon, judging by his increasing demands for a room upgrade. That's a shame, Inspector. What if I wanted to know a little about you? A dashing gunslinger type, then. I'm sure the investigation will turn out splendidly in your hands. Or at least Mr. Kincannon seems confident enough to believe so. I'd love to, Inspector, but I don't really have the authority. Moreover, the guests were promised exclusivity. If I let you up there, I'll never hear the end of it. Oh, how careless of me. Actually, that's not the only way I was careless. I just remembered you have VIP access rights as a special guest of Slug. Let me just set you up with VIP guest floor access. Done. You can now come and go as you please. Ah yes, we are most pleased to offer you our grandest of grand accommodations, Inspector. The penthouse suite on our topmost floor is now available for you. The last guest left her belongings behind when she vacated unexpectedly, so we needed a little time to tidy the suite up for you. Simply call the elevator in the lobby and our highly skilled operator will deliver you to your private floor with efficiency and cheer.
Hardline discrepancy detected nearby.
Why, hello there. Goodness, I always enjoy seeing guests, but it's been so long since I've chatted face to face that I about hopped out of my skin at the sight of you. Excuse me, I should introduce myself, though you might know me already, just not by name. I'm Bellhop Sullivan. You've likely heard my dulcet tones through the elevator intercom. Oh, that's so nice of you to say. I'm glad to meet you too. Now that our introductions are out of the way, do let me know if I can help you with anything. Well, yes, but having an operator certifies that the right guests end up on the proper floors. We wouldn't want tossball players rubbing shoulders with CEOs. It'd be anarchy. Plus, there's always the risk a guest chips a nail or loses a ring on a button. It's an extra effort, but the Grand Colonial prides itself on personalized service in all things. That and the elevator still works if I'm ever not around. I do take occasional breaks and sleep every so often. Oh yes, Norville's great. Always ready to help any and all guests who might need it. And so handsome too. His judgment sometimes leaves something to be desired, I will say. Kept badgering Halcyon Helen prior to her death about an autograph or something. A little beyond his station. Unfortunately not. I was in the operator room for the elevator, as usual. The camera feed only allows me to see within the elevator, which always has many people coming through. For what it's worth, the murder was a right shame. I always enjoyed the serials starring Ms. Helen, though I did find them prone to repetitive plot structures. But I'm sure you've heard the rumor about what actually did her in. That marauders got into the hotel and management is covering it up so the guests don't run off? Well, not necessarily, but they're fairly prevalent on the other complexes. It wouldn't take much for them to find their way here. Slug claims they've got the problem under control, but I don't understand why they haven't simply gone and exterminated all of the marauders like the vermin they are. Oh, well, I'm just